Welcome to Channel Sport this morning. It's great to have you join us again. I am Tayo Salam. This is what the show looks like. Before we go into all of that, let us... I've got Cecilia with me, obviously. Cecilia is on the show, so I'm not flying solo. And I also have Femi Adefeso as well to making a comeback to the program after a long time on the sidelines. Perhaps you're going to be telling us what you've been up to.
I feel like LeBron James right now. Coming back with the bang. Yeah, it's good to be back on the show. Always excited.
Great to have you. And it's so coincidence that you're back on the day we're talking about the Tigers playing the African qualifiers for the World Cup.
Yeah.
Not a coincidence, right?
No, well, not. For sure.
You know when he's here, you know that we're going to do
a
lot of basketball today.
Right.
All right. This is what the show looks like this morning. We're starting, of course, with this history that Haruna Quadri has made, becoming the first African to get to the round of 16 at the ITTF World Table Tennis Championship taking place in Houston.
Wow, think about Haruna Quadri, Nigeria's own Haruna Quadri, first African. So many firsts for this guy. You know, we're going to be talking about him later on the program. Still talking football, not football this time around. Let's move on to basketball, where today the Tigers will start their campaign to qualify for the World Cup. It's going to be played in Angola, and they'll be taking on Cape Verde in the very first match. So the Tigers will be tipping off the campaign for the African qualifiers for the World Cup.
11 a.m. Nigerian time. Yep. All right, also on the program, yes, Leicester City were in action in the Europa League, and indeed, he was on target. He made sure that that game ended 3-1 because his goal actually sealed the victory for them.
Fantastic for Wilfred Ndidi. As a matter of fact, I went from villain to hero in that particular game, gave away a penalty, then scored what turned out to be the icing on the cake for the Foxes. They still have a very good chance of qualifying for the next round of the Europa League. So that's it. That's what the show looks like. There's still a lot more to come on later on. We'll get to that shortly. But before we get to all of that, let's start with the NBA. No games played yesterday because of its Thanksgiving. The players are stuffing their stomach with chicken, turkey.
I doubt they were doing that.
Turkey.
I doubt they were doing that.
You think they would?
Turkey is actually lean.
You want it?
Yeah.
What's lean about turkey?
I'm telling you.
There's not much fat with it compared to the usual beef and pork and the others. So I think they're allowed to eat that because they need the protein.
But I know a lot of those guys want to keep it safe because it's a very interesting period in the season. A lot of things are still trying to get the oil and the engine. Some are already flying high. And it's been a mix of everything. And I think it's because it's the first time since, you know, the bubble and playing, you know, an abridged season. So most people are just trying to get into the grind as quickly as possible. And all the drama with the COVID vaccines also affecting various things.
Indeed.
Yeah.
So, guys, like Femi has said, I don't think they'll be going overboard with the turkeys and the chickens and all that because they got games tomorrow morning, so there's no time really.
Everybody's playing.
It was starting last night. It was starting tonight. Clippers will be in action tonight.
So let us take a look at the fixtures for the games to expect in the next round of matches in the NBA. Pistons, Clippers, Timberwolves, Hornets, Suns, Knicks, Bulls, Magic, Raptors, Pacers. Atlanta will take on Memphis. There's also Washington Thunder, Celtics versus San Antonio Spurs. The Milwaukee Bucks will take on the Denver Nuggets. New Orleans Pelicans will take on the Utah Jazz. The Blazers will be taking on the Golden State Warriors. And last but not the least, the Kings against the LA Lakers. So those are your fixtures for the next round of games in the NBA. Cecilia, we're going to focus quickly on the team with the longest winning run right now, the Phoenix Suns. Surprise, surprise? Not really?
Not really. They got to the final the last year.
So that was no fluke.
No fluke. And they've kept the same core. I like the leadership of Chris Paul on that team. I think a lot of people underrate the value Chris Paul brings to the table. I think they've stolen away some most valuable player trophies from him. To be honest.
Why do you use the word stolen?
Yeah, because he deserves it. He's a player who plays to win. Hardly gets any turnovers. His assists are always double figures. On the defensive end, he's one of the leaders in steals. And he just knows how to. He's just been unfortunate that he's not been in a very solid team like the LeBron Jameses, who have, 2-3 superstars, to fortify the game in there. You look at the young Bucks team that he's carrying on his shoulder, and he's doing it very well at that age. Let's not forget, he's closer to 40 than closer to 20. At this point in time in his career, and was able to get Phoenix Suns to the finals. And I hate to say this, but if we are to rate the point guards, there's a lot of hype on Russell Westbrook, but he's not as good as Chris Paul.
I agree,
because of his contribution
with
to his team overall.
I don't think you see too many people, other than Russell Westbrook fans, argue that particular statement you just made.
Russell also plays for the highlights. He plays for YouTube. That's what I say. He plays for the numbers.
They don't call Chris Paul the point guard
for nothing.
Point guard for nothing. Anyways, let's take a listen to Chris Paul. He's been talking about Phoenix Suns' run at the start of the season, 14-game winning streak, and why and how he loves to play with this very young side. That's the point guard himself, Chris Paul, leading a young Phoenix Suns side to a 14-game winning streak in the NBA. Still early days, but it's quite impressive what they've been able to do right now. Can't forget Devin Booker as well, to the superstar of the side, DeAndre Ayton as well, and so many other good role players.
I think we should also add to the fact that they are the second best team in the Western Conference.
Only behind the Warriors.
Only behind the Golden State Warriors. The Western Conference has the Clippers, the Lakers.
So many good teams.
Houston Rockets, although they are struggling at the moment. Dallas Mavericks. I mean, look at those teams. And you see Phoenix Suns really holding themselves high, going on that streak. You could,
it is impressive.
You give them a good chance of, at least going deep into the playoffs again.
Get into the finals again.
Let's go to the East.
Well, time will tell.
Let's go to the East and talk about this one. Femi, I'm going to have to give you a lot of credit concerning the Chicago Bulls, because they said it at the start of the season. That's a team to watch out for. I don't know what you saw. Maybe you saw the retooled roster and you felt, okay, you like what you're seeing, the pieces and all of that. But guess what? They're making the best start for 25 years.
Right. I think Caruso has been the steal of the season.
Really?
He was with the Lakers. When you have LeBron and you have Anthony Davis and you have those big names around, sometimes you don't get to see the efficiency of some players. But Caruso has been phenomenal. With the way he has brought, his game on the defensive end, to balance up what DeMar DeRozan and Lonzo Ball is bringing to the table. And let's not forget that late into last season, they made some good moves, bringing in Vucevic to the team as well. And that has sort of given them a sort of balance out. And I didn't mention Zach LaVine, in all of the names I've mentioned so far. So that tells you just how much grit is in this team, and the fact that the spotlight is not on them. That's what I love most. That they're like dark horses, just moving without pressure. Unlike Brooklyn Nets, who have the targets right on their back, and the fan base at the United Center is amazing. A lot of people don't know. Chicago is one of the biggest markets for the NBA. If not the second or the first. I would say second behind the New York Knicks. So that also would help some of those young players, begin to play at their best, and that's what is happening for them right now.
So talking about young players, we have a Nigerian there, Ayo Dosunmu.
Ayo Dosunmu was traded out.
Homeboy and everything.
It's great because he went to Illinois in his college days, and he's doing so well. And you can see how he's fitting in. Those guys come in with so much confidence. You can see they're having fun.
Feeding from the fans.
Having so much fun when they're playing. Lonzo Ball too, phenomenal point guard, also from Lakers. We didn't see too much of him. Little was said. Yes, the potential was there, the hype was there, but really they didn't give him that credit that he deserved. And he's come to Chicago Bulls, where he's been led to express himself, and he's just doing that like a great maestro.
I'm still not convinced about Lonzo, but I will leave that to, for some other time, because I've seen LaMelo play, and LaMelo is already looking like the real deal already.
LaMelo got experience from Euro that's actually helping him, so you really can't compare that.
I like Sissy's point there. Let's be fair. If you look at the exposure LaMelo has to the game, you know, it's a lot different from Lonzo. Playing European basketball gives you an edge. That's why you see the way...
What does that got to do with what I'm saying? All I'm saying is I've seen LaMelo, the younger brother, really
and
pulling
we're trying
his
to tell you the reason why he's actually pulling his weight.
He's more talented. Let's take that clearly. He's more talented than his elder brother. He has size and the exposure to the game. I mean, learning through European basketball is phenomenal. That's why Luka Doncic is like a step ahead of every other person. Because he's tougher, he's more physical to play. Some of the calls you see in the NBA, no touch, no physical contact, all of that. The European basketball allows that. The FIBA rules allows that. So that sort of has given him a little advantage coming to the NBA because he's a bit softer and he's like, okay, I'll do these things. And that's why you see Doncic plays with so much grace and LaMelo Ball as well, doing the same thing.
So time to talk about KD right now.
Yeah, Kevin Durant.
I mean,
just a couple of days ago, passed AI for number 25 on the all-time scoring list. And this guy's, okay, let me just keep quiet. Let's listen to what Kevin Durant has to say about passing Allen Iverson as number 25 on the all-time scoring list in the NBA.
Right, and Kevin Durant is a special player too.
Yeah.
The way he plays the game, for his size, I think he's one of those guys who changed how we look at big guys. Not adding bulk, trying to play behind the arc, shooting the ball so well. Most pundits call him the most talented scorer in NBA history. And he's proven it over and over again. Although he has, you know, some critics from his social media interactions and how he's been able to deal with media. But that's off the court. But as a player, I think Kevin Durant is as near perfect as you can get it in terms of how he handles the ball and how he scores the points.
And if you check the kind of injuries he's had in the past, being able to come back from that, see playing at a very, very high level.
Honestly speaking, it's amazing. It's super impressive how he's been able to bounce back from that. Steve Kerr says that every time he has the opportunity to. That nobody comes back from an Achilles injury and bounce back. We can count the number of players, DeMarcus Cousins, who had that and he's never been able to come through, you know, as well. Yeah, and you saw Tracy McGrady was a great scorer to struggle with, you know, injuries, and they just never hit it once they get that major setback with injuries. But with Kevin Durant, he's just come through.
It's phenomenal.
And it's been phenomenal.
Indeed, you have to say that's a testament to his work ethic. You know, coming back from serious injuries like that and still playing at a high level. Before we leave the NBA, a quick one on our guy. Ime Udoka's first season in the NBA, the Boston Celtics. What do you make of all of that?
I think it's been a cocktail of
mixed.
Yeah, the good, the bad, the ugly. You got a technical in the last game. A technical foul. But he's learning the ropes as an head coach. And I like the fact that he also has a young team that avails him some level of margin of error. Because also, you know, the GM is also a young guy. Brad Stevens was the former coach as well. But we must also call out some of the players. I think Jason Tatum has been terrible. He's been very inconsistent. He should be one of the big guys. Jaylen Brown, for me, has been excellent. I like what Smart brings to the table as well. He hasn't relented. In fact, I think he's improved his numbers in there. But I think they'll get there. But we would just need to take off that pressure. And that name, Celtics, comes with, an expectation. But
the most successful franchise in NBA history.
But we need to actually bring it down a little bit.
Temper expectations.
Yeah, because this is his first season. He's a rookie coach. Let's call him that.
But then what he did against the Lakers, you know the rivalry between Celtics and the Lakers, what he did against the Lakers on Friday night was something that the fans will all definitely remember forever, no matter what happened this season.
Well, I'm not sure the Celtics fans want to keep it if they don't do well.
That's more of
those guys... they pull pressure every night. So, I mean, I happen to also like the Celtics. So, I'm in a couple of groups. And the day they play well, they praise them. The day they are not, they're already asking for his edge. This guy doesn't know what he's doing. Let's get him out of here. But it will take
I think that statement win, it's something that you have to recognize.
Yes. And
but there's only so much that can carry for the rest of the season. If they go on a losing streak, it's going to be under pressure.
You hold that as a badge. But I also think when you look at the talent pool he has, we also need to give him a break.
Of course.
I mean, it's not the Lakers. It's not Brooklyn. You know, it's Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown.
Good players. Good young all-stars. All-star players.
All-star,
Dennis Schroeder.
Dennis Schroeder. Okay, you know what? We're going to leave the NBA right now because this is... Come on, Tyre.
He called the Schroeder besides Rajon Rondo.
I'm just saying it's a good team. It's
a decent team. At least playoff team.
Yeah, exactly.
Not a championship team.
But not
That's
a championship
what, not a championship team. Because we don't have a superstar in that team. Yes.
Those two guys are on their way to being superstars.
Yeah,
they're not just at that level yet.
Finally, we're leaving the NBA.
Yes.
We're leaving the NBA.
But we're still talking basketball.
Okay.
Marc Gasol.
Yeah.
He founded a team and he's now playing for the team. Interesting.
I mean, this guy is a servant of the game.
Oh, dear. I like that.
And I was one of the people that was really happy for him to have won that championship with Toronto Raptors. He's bounced around a few teams. He's a legend at Memphis. And at 36, he's beginning to consider retiring from the game.
This is another step towards...
Yeah, and this is another step. He founded the team in 2014.
Yes.
They are playing the second division. So I think he just wants to feel, to be sure, because what we are told is by the end of the season, he would make the decision whether to continue to play or finally rest. His brother, Pau, which you mentioned, retired just last year after playing one season for Barcelona at the age of 41? 41, yeah. He was one of the oldest players who played also at the Olympics. And he retired internationally, from there. So the Gasols definitely have written their names, in the sands of time when it comes to basketball, internationally and the NBA.
Yeah, the parents must be very proud.
Honestly.
All right, so all the best to Marc Gasol on his new journey, where he's going to play for Girona. That's in the second division of the Spanish Basketball League. All right, Cecilia, let's still talking basketball. The Tigers.
Yeah, the Tigers, of course. I mean, they'll be in action 11 a.m. and they're playing against Cape Verde. And we know that, yes, there's a new coach. There's some players that are coming in, new players, two local players making the final squad. But we're going to do a comprehensive preview of that when we come back from this break. Yeah, before we discuss more on the Tigers, and of course the teams and the players that will be participating. Yes, we have the final roster. But before that, we'll just take a look at the games they will be playing this weekend. Remember, it's the first window for the 2023 African qualifiers for the FIBA World Cup. And for the Tigers, they will be facing Cape Verde, 11 a.m. today. And then you have Mali and Uganda. That's another game for Friday. Then on Saturday, they'll be facing Mali. Then Uganda and Cape Verde will also be in action. On Sunday, they'll wrap it up with the game against Uganda. That's when they'll wrap that up. That's you have a Cape Verde and Mali, then Uganda and Nigeria. That's for Sunday to wrap up the qualifiers for this window before the next one, and of course the last one will be in June, and the three teams that top will get into the next round, and then you have another round before the final round of qualifiers. Then before you know, well, we have 3 windows. Only 5 teams will represent Africa at the World Cup. Now for the Tigers, we have the final list right here, and Deji Akindele top that.
I was wondering, I saw someone saying Jalil Akindele.
Yeah, it's the same person.
It's the same person. I had to put the Deji, so it's easier for us.
Jalil is his middle name.
Jalil is his middle name,
Ike Diogu, the captain, is back.
Amanze Ege Keze is also there. Christopher Obeka. You have Jordan Ogundiron, Christopher Obekba, Ben Emelogu, Keith Omera, Oyenonso Kinsley, Ben Uzo, Bright Akwete, and Mitchell Oriaki. These are the home-based players that we have from the Tigers final roster. Just 2 home-based players. They have the other ones foreign players. Now, Femi, I mean, yes, we've been talking so much about the Tigers, the fact that we thought we were even going to miss out on this one, and then we now heard the story. Okay, the sports minister had to go meet, the KIDA, and of course give approval. They send names to FIBA, and there's so many whole stories. But the good news is the fact that they will be taking part, because we're so scared that they may not have opportunity to take part in this window.
For some reason, I was one of the few optimistic people.
Oh, okay. All right.
Because we just can't afford not to be at the tournament for no reason. And not just Nigeria, Africa cannot afford it. FIBA cannot afford it. I'm not trying to say we are larger than life or anything, but the truth is, what Nigeria brings to the game and the ascendancy right now, both on the continent and, you know, even the NBA, where, you know, the names are getting more and more every day.
So
you know, it's important that we continue to grow in that direction. Yes, there's so much politicking going on this side,
would have been
but I'm sure we'll get over it. Once things begin to progress like this, then we know that we need to separate, you know, individuals from, you know, the collective good of the game, and then we need to start working together to do that. But with this team, I like the fact that Diogo Benuzo is back, and pure sentimental reasons for the fact that we need experience at this point. Everybody doesn't have their best players. The NBA season is on.
Timing.
Yeah, the NBA season is on. It's usually like that. You know, the NBA season is also these same qualifiers are going on in Asia and in Europe as well. So across the world, everybody is missing those big players. Same thing in mainstream Europe, just that Europe has a way of allowing some of these players, you know, to get to their club. So having those guys kind of bring some stability to the ship already, because we used different players at the Afrobasket, the Olympics, you know. So we need some level heads, people who have experienced this road before. Obekpa is there. Obekpa was part of the qualifiers for the World Cup in 2019. I saw Keith O'Meara. He was also there. On that journey as well. So I like the mix of experience and the young guys coming in, and the local-based players as well. The final year just got concluded. So seeing 2 players from although 5 players were initially picked. But Bright Akwete, he is an experienced guy in the local front. He's played for Yeowa Hawks, played for Bauchi Nets, you know, and he's recently for Customs before he traveled to, I think, the Philippines to play professionally. So him coming in is good. Owen Oriaki, one of the young enterprising players in the Nigeria basketball circles these days. So this is a good exposure for him. Hopefully he can bag a few minutes and just show what he has to offer.
So Femi, from the way you're sounding, it feels like you're not too worried that Nigeria performed poorly at the last Afrobasket, one of the worst Nigeria's
not one of the worst.
Worst in history. You're not too worried because of what you're seeing right now with this side.
Will I say I'm not worried?
It sounds like because
worry. I'm just
Diogo
optimistic.
is back, Uzo is back, all of those are
I'm just optimistic. That's why I'm hinging my confidence on the fact that we have some level of experience. We went to the Afrobasket without experience. We went to the Olympic Games without experience. And that was what came to the fore at the end of the day when the going got tough and we were tested. It was a case of, you know, game management. Some point, some guys losing their heads, you know, forcing shots and missing your man on defense. I know with like I say, with OGs, you know, like Ike Diogo, you know, I think they'll be able to put some pressure and some patriotic fire, you know, in some of these players that, look, we can't afford to slip up. We have to, you know, go into this and fight.
I see where you're coming from. I totally agree. For someone like Ike Diogo, who's been a loyal servant for God knows how long, over a decade, continuing to, you know, lead this team.
Let me just also add, Ben Uzo played recently in South Africa, and his team, the Cape Town Tigers, moved to the Elite 8 of the Basketball Africa League qualifiers just a couple of weeks ago. So he too has been very active, and he's also playing in the African terrain, which also gives him some advantage coming into this.
Indeed. So despite Nigeria's bad performance at the Afrobasket, somehow they still are topping the power rankings when it comes to the qualifiers in Africa, which is a bit surprising, but you can understand why. Prior to that particular tournament, the Tigers were really high up there. The number 1 ahead of Cote d'Ivoire, Angola, Cape Verde, Uganda, Central African Republic, Mali, and Guinea. So that's the African qualifiers power rankings for window 1. Hopefully, the Tigers will get the job done against their opponents over the weekend. Before we leave the Tigers quickly, the coach, Julius Nwosu, not much is known about in terms of his coaching abilities and reputation.
Except that
I think the peculiarity of things going on now, too, it's quite difficult to attend to that side of the game. I mean, with the controversies like Sisi highlighted, you know, in getting the squad together and all. So
because coaching is
this
so important.
This selection is based off someone who has a good knowledge of the game and has also played on the national team. Julius Simonsi was captain of his team. He's led us to the World Cup. He's led us to Afro-Basket. So he sort of understands. And let's not forget, he's played in the NBA.
Yes,
let me add that to it. And he's lived in the US. So he will have an understanding and a sort of rapport with some of these players. I know, with the likes of Ike Diogo and
Co. But the experience
so that
obviously will come to play because he doesn't have it.
Yeah, he will come to play. But I want to binge on the fact that he has enough experience of African basketball, having played, but maybe not as a coach. But having played, that can give him a kind of picture as to what to expect and you know how to fight.
It's not an ideal situation, but I see where you're coming from.
Yeah, it's not ideal. We just do what we have right now.
So 11 a.m., right? Just a few hours from now, an hour, like 30 minutes or thereabouts, so the D Tigers will be in action against Cape Verde. Hopefully this win, if there's a win, hopefully there's a win, it will serve as a springboard for them to move to next round. Okay, let's move to table tennis. But before that, Austin Okonakpan is in London, so he's going to be joining us this morning on the show. As usual, it's Friday, so Austin is here. Austin, how are you doing?
Austin, are you cold?
How many shirts are you wearing?
Spotty greetings, guys. I'm struggling with the audio. I can't really hear you guys. Maybe if we just pump up the volume, then we'll be fine. But it's good to be on the show. We're following the basketball discussion, particularly with the D Tigers. We did a comprehensive, analysis of the qualifiers last night, and I still have my cynicism, particularly with the leadership crisis that's going on with basketball in Nigeria, because it is what you sow, you reap, guys. I know we'll come up with so much, expectations and patriotism. We want us to, support our team, but if you look at what's going on with basketball in the country, and because everything rises and falls on leadership. There's no way it's not going to affect the players. Mentally, sports, is played right here, and a lot of things happens there. If you check out the way the D Tigers performed at the last Afro-Basket, and then we've been here and there with the leadership crisis, it's difficult, It's difficult to come out and say, "Oh, they're just going to do this, just going to do that at the African qualifiers." So, it's another round of hope for us in Nigeria, unless we come out and be deliberate about doing the right things. The struggle will continue.
Indeed. There's no two ways about it, guys.
Okay, we just hope that they will understand that and allow the game to go on smoothly, so we'll be able to talk about what's on court and not the politics of it. All right, we'll leave in basketball and quickly, finally, right? And quickly touch down in Houston. That's where the ITTF World Table Tennis Championship is taking place. And its history will be celebrated this morning when Haruna Quadri made it to the round of 16, becoming the first African to do that. Yes, he's been aiming to actually break that jinx, getting past that third round and moving to the round of 16. And now he's been able to achieve that. Yes, it was a tough one for him before he could achieve it, because it was the best of 7. They literally played every game in this particular. Let's take a look at that result to see how Haruna Quadri was able to nick this one. He ended 4-3 Tayo. This was how hard it was against Indian Satya.
Back and forth.
Yeah, it was back and forth. 11-9, 7-11, 13-15. The third game, he lost the next 2, and of course the final 2, he needed to dig deep. I mean, he said he was shaky at a point. He knew that he couldn't lose this. He needed to stay in the game, and he did that all through. So he ended 4-3. It was very, very close, Austin, for Haruna Quadri. But the good news is the fact that, yes, after this dramatic win, he was able to make it to the round of 16. The first African to do that.
Awesome.
Haruna Quadri ranks number 13, seeded number 13 in this championship.
Austin's got a big smile.
What a story, I woke up, Cecilia, when you told me about it, because I was waiting for it, then I caught some sleep and missed it, but I just watched the highlights now. I just want to say congratulations to Haruna Quadri. I'm super proud of him. I was about to send him a message before coming on air. I was like, let me let the champ rest. The round of 16 is a big deal, and he's going to be playing it today against Christian Carlsen of Norway, of Sweden, rather. But when you look at this sort of performance against Satian, who is a top-class table tennis player, and who has shown Aaron Quadri, in previous competitions that he can compete by getting the win. This goes to show that Aaron Quadri wants to, keep us talking about him. Check how he started. He defeated Canin 4-0. In his second game against Victor Ishii of Brazil, he won that one 4-2. In his third game against Satian, he has gone on to win 4-3, and it was a push. I'm sure he's going to learn, particularly from those sort of games where he lost 11-4, 11-5. Today against Carlsen, he needs to give his top performance, push all the way. Aaron Quadri has told us that when he's not winning, he's going to still break records. And that's why I was so super proud of him, Not just Aaron Quadri, every Nigerian table tennis player in Houston, they've given their best. Don't forget, I've got Bode Abiodun there, Omotayo Olajide, and there's also Edem Offiong, and they've been busy also in the mixed doubles. But this guy, Aaron Quadri, has shown that he's a model for the development of table tennis in Nigeria and Africa in general. So everyone needs to come out today, wish him all the best, see if he can get into the last 8. And when you get into the last 8, start dreaming and get to the semis.
Yeah.
You never know.
You never know.
Yeah, right? Now, he's been speaking on this one. He's been talking. Let's take a quote from him where he said that, according to him, he said, I was shaky from the beginning to the end, and I couldn't understand why. I knew I could win or I could lose. I was not really comfortable with the way I played, but I'm really happy I won. It means a lot for Africa and Nigeria that I'm the first African to make it to the round of 16. I am proud of myself.
Of course, it's got to be proud of yourself, Femi. Another record, last time out in Rio, first to get to the Olympics quarterfinals.
I think in the last... maybe I'll be pushing too far if I say in the last decade. But in the last 5-6 years, I don't think there's any other athlete in Nigeria that has remained as consistent as Aaron Quadri is in terms of, the growth, the development, the way he's been able to, keep getting better and pushing for what has been undone. Than any, even across team sports.
Just off the top of my head, I can't think of anyone.
Yeah, we can say D-Tigress. But really, you look at what
take
Aaron...
D-Tigress, they're in a class of their own, yes.
Yeah,
okay.
And it's even a team sport. But you look at Aaron Quadri, doing that for I hate to say, but a lesser-known sport, table tennis, that is beginning to grow in reputation just because of him. A lot of us follow table tennis now, even outside of Nigeria, outside of Africa, just because Aaron Quadri is playing. And that's how much influence and the impact that he's making on the sport. And I really hope that he reaps not the benefits, not just on the table tennis table or arena, but even outside of it. Because I think it's high time we all begin to celebrate and commercialize the success for his own benefit. He's in Houston. He's made a record.
It's a big deal.
Let me speak balance. It should be loud.
It should be loud, right? Let me make it louder. Now, the mixed doubles, not the good one. Austin mentioned Edem Offiong, Bode Abiodun. They are out of the singles event. But in the mixed doubles, it was the last game because in the round of 32, they lost.
When you see the opponent, Son and Wang, then you just get worried already. Like, the chances are very, very small. But it's the end of the road for the mixed double side. But shout out to them as well for giving the best in that competition. I wish them, hopefully they get to do better in subsequent pro shows and events. So that's it for table tennis. For now, let's move on. Talk about the Europa League that was played. Match that was played last night between Leicester City and Legia Warsaw, where Super Eagles midfielder Wilfred Ndidi was in action and not only impacted the game on both sides, gave away a penalty, then scored the third goal for Leicester City in that very crucial victory.
Indeed, is one guy you pay to watch. I don't think there's anybody as efficient in that position right now. In the whole of world football, I stand to be corrected. The way he goes and plays the game. I remember when he got injured, I was one of those who, not now, because he was in the form of his life, and I'm glad that he's been able to come back and just transition very smoothly, back into top shape and top form. So I'm excited for him. He doesn't get those goals.
Yeah, I mean, the goals come.
He just comes right to it. It reminds me of Claude Makelele.
Yeah, that's not their job. Their job is
to break up the attack or the offense of the opposing team. Yeah, and just try to
so any goal is a bonus.
Honestly speaking. But fantastic guy. He does his job every day of the week. And so if he gets those goals, good bonus for him, especially in Europe. And I know very soon he will stop wearing that blue jersey. It's only a matter of time.
He'll stop wearing the blue jersey or Leicester because it could change to another blue, right?
This particular blue.
This particular blue,
so there's
right?
An agenda here right now.
Or something. Or it could be red.
Austin, Wilfred getting a goal, a rare one for Leicester. Awesome.
Beautiful, and before that corner kick was taken, the camera was on him and his positioning and the way he was doing, I was like, this guy might just go for it, and then he produced that stunning header to make it 3-1 for Leicester City against Legia Warsaw. I think it's just something about Ndidi. Whenever he thinks he's done something wrong, he wants to go all out to make an amend. We've seen it time and time again. But that was a good win for Leicester City. It needed to put them in a good place because their final match is against Napoli away. So remember, the first leg was I think it was a 3-3 right there at the King Power Stadium. So they need to, find a way to get another good result to go on in the competition. So it's football for you. I'm particularly pleased that Nigeria made a difference in that one. Kelechi Iheanacho also had the time, had some time to also play. But while it was good at the King Power Stadium, it wasn't so good for Tottenham away at Slovenia. I don't know what Antonio Conte is going to do. Losing to Mora was a low, and that's the Slovenian champ. But I don't know, the team they've lost to in this Europa Conference title, it worries me.
Austin, so just hold on for a second since you've mentioned Tottenham. Antonio Conte has been reacting to that incredible loss against NS Mura. NS Mura, the Minos, I say that respectfully, from Slovenia. They're the lowest ranked side in this competition, and they managed to defeat Tottenham by 2-1. This is what Antonio Conte has had to say about that loss. He says, I must be honest and tell you that after 3.5 weeks, I'm starting to understand the situation. I can tell you that the situation is not simple. It's not simple because in this moment, for sure, the level of Tottenham is not so high. He goes on to say, if someone thinks that a new coach arrives and Conte is one in the past, then I'm a magician. I am not a magician. And after 3 weeks, I have found players that want to work and have great commitment. But sometimes that is not enough. Antonio Conte, this is very, very, very damning.
So is this some kind of vindication for Jose Mourinho?
That's what it looks like, because a lot of times people try to pin all these issues on Jose. I just say the problem, get rid of him, everything's going to be fine.
Right.
This is a coach after 3 weeks saying pretty much that he doesn't have the tools to take Tottenham to the next level. Pretty much that's what he said.
I think Tottenham has always been in a very precarious situation. Harry Kane has been the shining light. He's been the standout player. But in the last year, his body is there, but his mind isn't. And I think it's affected the way he's approached the game. And when you look at the fact that a lot of players look up to him, and he is giving them, kind of feel like, I'm out of here. I don't think he helps any coach whatsoever. And I like the fact that Conte is saying this, because I was one of those who said Jose Mourinho was not the problem at Tottenham. And even the same thing at Manchester United.
As well.
I think you put that in.
Time has players.
And time has shown that that's the case. I don't know how Tottenham will get out of this. I know they can't chase everybody out and bring in new players.
That's the problem.
But they need to begin to inject new players. So I think what can happen now is for Conte to begin to stamp his influence by bringing players that can work with his system. So bringing 2, 3, 4 players. A lot of people fail to realize that Jose Mourinho was instantly successful at Chelsea because he was able to bring in a number of players from Porto down with him to Chelsea. So it was easy transition. And a lot of people don't see that fact, and everybody just brings it up. You come in, you have to do magic. After all, Jose Mourinho did it at Chelsea, so nobody has any excuse. But it takes time. It takes time.
That's what Antonio Conte is pleading for right now, patience and time, so the fans don't get on his back. Tottenham go on a losing run.
If they sack a coach who left them to the finals of Champions League, and the next season he was having a bad run, and it was let go.
And I think they're overrated too. You know, a lot of people think, oh, because of the rivalry with Arsenal and you know London, Chelsea, everybody feels so Tottenham is top 5.
Okay, get to their trophy cabinet and see if we can see anything.
New stadium.
Beautiful
I think the hype is just too much about Tottenham.
We need to go on a break, guys, before we get you know, an earful from our director. Anyways, when we come back from the break, we'll be previewing the big match for the weekend in the English Premier League. As Michael Carrick's Manchester United taking on Thomas Tuchel's Chelsea. Join us again. Welcome back to Channel Sports. This morning we're still talking football on the program. Let's talk about the professor of football. That's what they call this guy, Cecilia, right?
Yep.
I don't know why.
When it comes to technical ability, I mean, that's what we've heard. That's what we've heard. I mean, that's what we've heard. And not only that, because of what they did in Germany, you know, and if you take a look at the coaches like Jurgen Klopp, Thomas Tuchel, everyone has been saying that it's more like, you know, what he has brought in.
Yeah, they look up to him. But I'm just trying to understand why.
If those successful coaches are looking up to him, that means there's something, to prove. And that's why, according to reports we're hearing, if he's going to be interim for United after this season, then he's going to remain with them as a consultant for the next 3 seasons.
What we're talking about?
So Ralph. If that happens...
Mr. Ralph Rangnick.
Ralph Rangnick. That's the coach we were talking about right now, because...
You know when you said professor, we would think you're saying guy.
Yeah, that's only professor.
Like, okay.
But that's the man right there. Reports saying he's on the verge of taking over Manchester United for the rest of the season.
Austin, let's go to Austin. Let's go to London first. Austin, I mean, now this is the man, the professor, right? Okay. What do you think? Because some people are saying, you know what, just let Carrick end this season and then let this man come next season instead of using a Pochettino. What's your view?
That's the majority. That's what the majority seem to be saying right here in the British media. You know, people are saying this guy is good with administration. He's good with sports development. Is he good on the pitch as a manager? Can he manage these Manchester United players who have been through so much under Ole, and they want somebody that actually has good football pedigree going on the pitch, guys? Very important. You know, I don't care about the interim that they have attached to this. Manchester United fans are saying with what's going on at United, there's definitely a lot of, you know, talks happening at the background. There's a lot of backroom shake-up. People have mentioned Ed Woodward a lot of times and Joel Glazer, that they don't know what they're doing, you know. So Rangnick definitely has a very juicy, you know, CV. Been there, done that with football, call him the professor and all of that. But on the pitch is a different issue. You had
I agree, Austin.
He thought it was going to be an easy job, you know. Now he's saying it's not as simple as he thought. I feel what's wrong with Manchester United at the moment is psychological. So they would, I think, the setup that is part of the problem should be able to solve it. And I would have let Michael Carrick just go until the end of the season. Bring this guy to give support in the background. Players can be very funny persons. You know, if they don't love this guy, then there will be more problems for United.
He'll be on his own. I agree. Your spot on Austin. Femi, quick one on this.
So I see the situation at Manchester United as someone who has been taken to the ER. They're applying oral medication. But it seems not to be working. So now they have to go intravenous. And that's why a man like this is coming in, you know, to get into the fabric of things, because they are looking beyond, you know, beyond interim and even beyond the field of play. I think this is, of course, a likely replacement for Ed Woodward in the making. From what I see from here, and I think that's what they need to get. So I think him coming on to the sidelines is to see exactly what the problem is, what the problems are. I really don't think long-term he will be the coach. No. Personal opinion. Yeah. I think he's just there to really assess things, and he would eventually take on that maybe director of football or something to help, rejig the DNA of the club, which seems to be dying.
DNA, that word
already.
again.
I think DNA is dead. I mean, he died when Fergie left. Because, I mean, you talked about DNA, and you're asking, what's your style of play, and then what are the qualities of coaches or players?
Even there's no winning mentality. That's like the basic minimum at Manchester United.
That's why I said it's there, because DNA of United is that winning. There's winning. That's the only
winning
thing.
mentality.
So now you don't have it.
It's only Ronaldo, and everybody else is not there.
Yeah.
Interesting that you mentioned Ranić potentially replacing Ed Woodward. Ed Woodward, executive vice chairman, football director, is everything in that club. So very interesting to see. Anyways, before we take a look at the papers, it's Austin. We gotta let you go.
Yeah.
Austin. All right, let's let you go and get on with the rest of the day. Hopefully, it gets a bit warmer later on. Thank you for joining us.
He didn't tell me how many shirts he was wearing. I wanted to know.
Thank you, Sting. Cheers.
Yeah. Cheers.
All right, let's quickly take a look at games for this weekend. Yes, and the big one, obviously, is the game between United and, of course, Chelsea. Now, for Saturday's fixtures, you have Arsenal, Newcastle, Crystal Palace and Aston Villa, Liverpool and Southampton, Norwich City and Wolverhampton, and then move over to what you have on Sunday. Okay, Saturday, last one is Brighton and Leeds. And, of course, for Sunday, these are the games for you on Sunday, where you have Chelsea and, of course, Manchester United in action, Man City and West Ham, Leicester and Watford, Burnley and Tottenham, and, of course, Brentford and Everton will start the day on Sunday. Yes, the big game, which is Chelsea and United. Femi.
You can't bet against the Blues.
Okay.
A neutral, a fan. I mean, Chelsea are in imperious form.
Yeah.
I know this is an unpopular opinion, but I rate Chelsea even higher than Manchester City at the moment, despite the form and how they play. Because they are compact, they are like, they execute.
They look unbeatable.
Yeah, they know exactly what they want to do. They know how to get teams precise, get the win, go. They don't have to play fancy.
No, they don't know.
You don't even need to understand their style. Yeah. They're just very efficient. It reminds you of the days of Jose Mourinho, when they were together. And
his first spell.
Yes, and the camaraderie and the success is really interesting. How they play. Unlike Manchester City, who struggle with confidence sometimes when they play, you see it. But it's not the same with Chelsea. So I don't see anything short of a Chelsea win against United.
Even though United have all these great players and...
Well, results have shown that even with all the great players, you're losing 4-1 to Watford. And you're being beaten black and blue by Liverpool.
Now, the great players you're talking about, remove Ronaldo, Fernandes, and then who should you add to them in the mix? Okay, maybe Paul Pogba. Now, take a look at other players from Martial, from Rashford. Yeah, David De Gea, of course.
De Gea is as good as his defense.
Then now, these are the players you have. Now, go to the back. Come on, Tayo. That was 4 years ago. Now, take a look at the back four or back five. So what he does sometimes. Now, take a look at those players. Then compare what you have at Chelsea. I mean, I think you can't compare the players. Just have 3 players who are world-class players at United. Outside that 3, the others are just filling the gap, squad players.
No, okay, I don't agree.
Let's leave United.
Come on.
Because if you have star players on the field, you can't be losing. You can't be losing 5 games out of 7, 1 win, 1 draw, losing 5 for big players. That's not what big clubs. That's not what they do.
That's more of a function of a dysfunctional team, not the players. We all, come on, guys. We know United have very good players, and that's why they went into the season very optimistic.
Harry Maguire.
But unfortunately, it hasn't panned out well for them. Harry Maguire, for example, is the most expensive defender in the world.
Is he worth it?
Problem. Tayo is actually using the money that is, I mean, the amount paid for these players to judge the players.
That's not what I'm saying.
If you're giving...
That's not it.
Okay, which defender...
I mean, Jordan Sancho is out.
Jadon Sancho, we saw this guy absolutely killing it in the Bundesliga. That's what we're saying. So it's not that the players are not good.
He's coming from Borussia Dortmund. He's not coming from Bayern. He's not coming from Barcelona. He's not coming from Real Madrid. I'm having a headache. Now let me take this mail. We got one mail here before we go to the papers here. Okay, this is coming from Nagudu. It says Manchester United is completely confused. They should allow Carrick to go ahead as an interim coach. Bring bringing in another coach at this time can only make things worse because the new coach will also want to build another team. And finally, please, when the D-Tigers are having to play, tell us the time. We said it's 11 a.m. We said like up to 3 times, right? Okay, so Nangodo is 11 a.m. That's when D-Tigers are playing this morning, this very morning, today.
Yeah, that United question about Carrick. Carrick is, like I explained, is a soft solution. They need a hard solution to this. Yeah, you can't apply tablets anymore. They need to go into
serious.
And yeah, it's better to plan long term than look for short-term solutions. So I kind of agree with what Manchester United is doing at the moment.
They don't have long-term.
Trying to get someone who looks like can stamp his authority and change things.
Okay, we'll see.
Okay,
look at the papers, right? Yeah.
We'll see.
I'll start with Sporting Sun quickly, and this one ahead of AFCON, Napoli, NFF at war over Siemens availability. Okay, I'm tired of this, so I'm going to leave it and quickly go to the next one, which is Sporting Life. Sporting Life says Nigeria owes Raw $220,000. That's a debt of 4 months' wages. And Airtel promises to pay NFF $1.2 billion, and Federation hopes to offset Eagles managers' salaries from the oil firm's cash. And technical reports submitted to the Sports Ministry on Wednesday. It's all about the saga concerning Gennett Rowe.
Yeah, we're still waiting for official word from the NFF concerning his future. Let's go to Complete Sports. This is the next paper for review. It's a bit worrying. Ozan Igalo fires blank again. So because Osimhen is out of the AFCON, that's what it looks like. Odion might just be the guy to lead the Eagles
attack. Paul Onachu also.
You don't have other guys?
You have Paul Onachu. We have Taiwo Awoniyi. I don't know why everyone is sweating over Osimhen.
How come Odion Igalo all of a sudden is not represented?
Because the coach begged and begged to bring him back, and started him against the very last game, which was very, very crucial right in Lagos. So I'm guessing it's going to be the guy going forward. Anyways,
obviously.
Yeah, but you know there might be a new coach though, so that's another matter in time. So if a new coach comes and doesn't fancy Igalo, we'll see. It goes Chelsea willing to sell Pulisic to Liverpool. How would you do that in the first place? PSG step up. Yeah, PSG step up pursuit of Zidane.
I said that.
Even though Pochettino is still in the job. What else again?
Pochettino needs to lose 2-3 games in a row and he'll be fired. Okay, continue.
I'm done with this paper, Cecilia.
Femi, thank you so much for coming in the program. Yeah, I want to have you again.
Yeah, stop being a stranger.
I'm not.
Thank you guys for watching the show again all week. Enjoy the rest of your day. I am Taya Salam.
I'm Cecilia Mogbe. Have a fantastic weekend. See you on Monday.